Krk is a Croatian island in the northern Adriatic Sea, located near Rijeka in the Bay of Kavana and part of Primorje-Gorski Kotar County. For many years, Krk has been thought to be the largest Adriatic island, with an area of 405.78 square kilometers. Although recent measurements now give the neighboring island of Crescent an equal surface area, Krk is the most populous Adriatic island, with numerous towns and villages that contain a total of 19,383 inhabitants. History. Prehistory archaeological finds show that the island has been inhabited without interruption since the Neolithic Age. According to Greek and Latin sources, Kappa Upsilon Rho Iota Sigma Tau Alpha or Curita is one of the Apcertidian or Electridian islands held by the Liburnians. There are the remains of prehistoric settlements near Dragobaskanska and Bronze Age and Iron Age earthworks near Malinska, Dobrinj, Vrbnik and Baska. Roman era Krk came under Roman rule once they defeated the Liburnians. The town of Krk became a town with Italic law whose status evolved to give it the rights of a municipality. Nothing is known about the internal organizations of the town of Krk during this time. Near the present-day Franciscan monastery, the remains of thermal baths have been found. The defensive walls of Roman Curicum were among the most secure of all the towns on the eastern Adriatic fortified by the Romans. Work began on their construction during the Civil War in Rome and they were further strengthened in the 60s of the 2nd century CE. To enable them to withstand attacks by the Quadi and the Marcomanni who were at that time threatening the Adriatic. Not far from Krk in 49 BCE there was a decisive sea battle between Caesar and Pompey, which was described impressively by the Roman writer Lucan in his work Pharsalia. When the empire was divided, Krk came under the Eastern Roman Empire. Migrations of the nations. The walls of the town of Krk could not withstand attacks by the Avars, but in contrast to Salona, Skardona and Aeona, life in Krk quickly returned to normal. The Croats penetrated into the town on several occasions. They retained many of the Roman names they found there, and so it is said that Krk has a Mosaic dialect. Following the Treaty of Aachen, the entire island was ceded to the Byzantine Empire, and was governed according to the norms of that empire. During the reign of Emperor Constantine Porphyrogenitus, Krk was known as Vecla, of which the Romanized variant, also used by the Venetians, was Veglia. Time of the Croatian counts and kings. There are no extant documents showing when Krk became part of the Croatian state. It is known that from around 875 the Byzantine town paid the Croatian rulers 110 gold pieces a year to be able peacefully to keep their hold there. While the Croatian state was being established, Krk found itself on the Venetians' route to the Mediterranean. The Venetians conquered the town for the first time in 1001. And from then Krk's history was closely linked with the history of the Republic of Venice for 7 centuries. During the reign of Peter Kresimir IV the Croatian rulers regained their power, but the Venetians took Krk for the second time in 1118. Reign of the Krk counts. When the Venetians conquered Krk for the second time in 1118, the local noble family, the unknown Dujams, received Krk as part of a pact with Venice, and they became counts. When Dujam died in 1163, Venice allowed his sons to make their position hereditary, after a payment of 350 Byzantine gold pieces as tax. In a short time the Krk counts became so strong that at one time from 1244 to 1260, Venice rescinded their authority. This failed to impede their rise, however. They increased economic exploitation, but they also endeavored to strengthen old traditions and rights with various statutes. Dujam's youngest son, who died in 1209, succeeded in extending his authority to the mainland, began to serve the Croatian-Hungarian king and received the district of Modris. Due to his economic strength and social standing, his opponents fought each other for his favor. The counts became so strong that no power could threaten them. Members of his family were leaders in Split, Troga and Say, and from 1392 one of them became a Croatian Dalmatian ban. In 1430 they took the surname Frankopan, claiming to have Roman origins. That year they adopted a coat of arms showing two lions breaking a piece of bread. From 1449, the descendants of Nikolai V founded 8 branches of his family, and together with the Zrinski counts were the ruling feudal family in the whole of Croatia right up to 1671. The Frankopans produced 7 Croatian bands, and many of them were patrons of Croatian artists. Under the Venetians, Krk was the last Adriatic island to become part of the Venetian Empire. Due to its location, closest to the Uskoks of Say, it served as a lookout point and the first line of defense against the Uskoks. From that time the ruler was a Venetian noble, but the small and the large councils both had a certain autonomy. The Doge controlled the clergy, but public documents were written in Glagolitic, which was adopted here more than anywhere else. At the beginning of the 16th century the inhabitants of inland Croatia began to settle on Krk and the flight from the Turks. But Krk suffered a decline like all other Venetian property. In 1527 the town had 10,461 inhabitants and in 1527 it had 8,000. Under the Austrians, Austrian rule began with the fall of Venice in 1797 and was briefly interrupted by Napoleon's Illyrian provinces. In 1822 the Austrians separated the island from Dalmatia and linked it to Istria, so that Krk, Crescent and Lusic came under direct rule from Vienna. This link contributed to the Croatian national revival and together with Kastov, the town of Krk played a leading role in the spread of Croatian education and culture. 20th century the Italian occupation was brief, and Krk was handed over to Croatia, then in Yugoslavia, by the Treaty of Rapallo. Italy took Krk again in the Second World War, and German occupation followed from 1943 to 1945. The post-war development of Krk was led by tourism. The building of an airport and then a bridge over to the mainland ensures the future of the development of tourism on this island. In Amisulj there has also been industrial development, economics and infrastructure. Krk is located rather near the mainland and has been connected to it via a 1,430 meters two-arch concrete bridge since 1980. One of the longest concrete bridges in the world, due to the proximity to the city of Rijeka. Amisulj also hosts the Rijeka International Airport as well as an oil terminal representing a part of the port of Rijeka and a petrochemical plant. Krk is a popular tourist destination, because of the situation and proximity to Slovenia, southern Germany, Austria, and northern Italy. Since the collapse of the Eastern Bloc, many tourists have appeared from Hungary, Romania, and other former Eastern Bloc countries. Fiber access network. In 2009 the municipality started the project of building a fiber optic network on the whole area of the city as part of the town infrastructure. Thereby the focus is on building the passive part of the network, which is the most expensive one and the prerequisite for service providers being able to provide ultra-fast internet connections and new e-services. The project is covering 6,243 inhabitants and 6,000 households. The first issue was the elaboration of a cost-benefit analysis in 2009-2010, followed by a preliminary network planning. At the beginning of 2013 the building authority issued the relevant approval. The next step is the elaboration of the main project, which is the condition for getting the building permission and by which the project can apply for EU structural funds. Culture and religion. Krk has historically been a center of Croatian culture. Various literature in Glagolitic alphabet was created and in part preserved on Krk. A monastery lies on the small island of Kasian in a bay off the coast of KRK. KRK belonged to the Republic of Venice during much of the Middle Ages until its dissolution, when its destinies followed those of Dalmatia. It became part of the Kingdom SHS, later Yugoslavia, after World War I, in 1920. After that date, the village of Veglia, KRK remained the only predominantly Italian-speaking municipality in Yugoslavia. After World War II, most of the Italians left. Towns. The municipalities and larger settlements on KRK include the eponymous city of KRK, with 6,243 inhabitants, located at 45 degrees 13 and 14 degrees 32 E, 45.217 degrees north, 14.533 degrees east, 45.217, 14.533. Amisolj. 2,987 people. Melinska Dubaznica, Melinska, the capital of municipality. 3,142 people. Punat. 1,953 people. Dobrinj. 2,023 people. Baska. 1,668 people. Vrbnik. 1,270 people. Bochen, Gabonjan Krasitz, Krasika Sankt Anton, Anton Sankt Fosca, Pinizici Sankt Maria, Glavotok Sankt Nicholas, Valbaka Snievitz, Neuwies, Roman Catholic bishopric. Other. The fictional island Everon from the video game Operation Flashpoint. Cold War Crisis is based on KRK. The 45th parallel north passes through the island of KRK, making it positioned halfway between the equator and the North Pole. The crossing of the 45th parallel is marked with a signpost.